Happy Wednesday, y'all. I'm stoked to have Josh in with me today. So we're going to go over his business and the systems and systematizing things he's done. He's done a lot of stuff to basically like automate a lot of his business, so he's not fully in it every day, which is awesome. Definitely looking to learn a lot from him today too. So if you're a LIA member, I sent the link out. You could come in through the back end and ask Josh questions live. For everybody else, you guys could drop questions in the comments. We'll try to answer them. But real quick, I wanted you guys to share this real quick. Landinvestor.co. This is free. We're not looking to get anything, but basically, this is 100% free. Everybody asks us, "Hey, what are you guys doing? What's your PA look like?" and all that stuff. So this is the actual PA that we use right here for LIA. So this is the contract that Sumner's used to lock up all of $4.9 million worth of raw land. This is the one that he sends out for all of his mailers and everything like that. It's free, no ask. Honestly, just put your email, full name and email. You'll get it. There's nothing you have to do. There's no like hoops you got to jump through or anything like that. Sign up. The only reason why we're doing this is we want to have some kind of like systematized contract that everybody kind of uses to make everything simpler. So if you guys ever want to assign a deal to us or anything like that, we already know the contract they're sending and using it works, right? So there it is. Go to landinvestor.co/PA and you could grab that for free. Another thing too, Land Insights. Don't forget to hop on this. If you haven't already, absolutely hop in. This is how we're picking our markets, and it's totally changed and shaped the way we do our business. It's awesome. It really is great. So definitely check that out. Cool. We'll get back into everything now. Josh, I'm going to bring you up now. What's up, man?
What's going on, man?
How much? Tell me what you got going on. I had you on here quite a while ago.
That was like my first or second week. That was, what was that, November, December?
Something like that. You had just gotten started.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see like what you've been doing and kind of where you're at now.
Yeah. Well, gosh, at the time we picked my first market. It was an Arkansas market. I thought I was going to outsmart the system and go somewhere where everybody wasn't, and it didn't go very well.
No, what happened there?
Sold a couple deals there, but
okay,
things just didn't move, and yeah, I just realized I didn't like working in a market like that where it's just super, super, super rural and low value properties. But anyways, yeah, that was November, and we're in middle April now, and
April, yeah,
yeah, business looks a lot different. I've got a little bit of a team beneath me now helping me out. I realized very early on that time was going to be the biggest bottleneck for me to get to where I wanted to go. Of course, this not being my first experience running a business, I had already came in understanding systems and processes and delegation and the value of my time. So right out of the gate, I knew like within the first month, I had hired a VA to do, a lot of data scrubbing and things like that. And that was the biggest thing was getting myself out of the spreadsheets and removing duplicates in my data and things like that, because I realized where my value is, where my strengths are as the CEO of this business is building relationships and making deals right now. Right. And at some point soon, that's even going to evolve to where I'm not the one making deals. I'm going to be the visionary and the one that's, building the road ahead or whatever it is. But right now I'm the expert on the team at making deals, and I need to make sure that my time is just absolutely protected for that.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And the sooner you could take yourself out of the business is the better. Actually, you've noticed like you actually become the bottleneck because you care about a lot of things that other people are just like, yeah, whatever, we're just going to brush through this kind of thing. Right. So it's actually good to kind of get yourself out of that seat and have other people kind of take over. So that's really smart that you brought in a VA. As far as like the Arkansas stuff, how much did you mail on that? Did you get any deals out of that, or was that kind of like
yeah, we got a few deals out of it. Overpriced one of the markets significantly, which was a blessing in disguise.
Okay, yeah,
I got a ton of calls and was able to lock up a handful of contracts there. I just canceled a contract that, I'm double closing most of my properties, just canceled one earlier this week that wasn't selling. And we had 2-3 weeks left. And I wanted to be transparent with the seller. Like, hey, look, like our vision isn't really panning out based on, the neighborhood, the area, and everything like that. And he had shared that he had another offer for more than what I had. And
Mhm.
I don't know, that investor is going to be in for a rude awakening as well, because he's going to put it on the market and realize that property's not selling in that area. But I got a couple of deals. Another one that just sold, was a buy for 28, sell for 50. Worked with a funder on that one. That one we sold on April 1st and brought $17K into my pocket. So yeah.
Sweet. So you're in the black right now in your business, you would say?
Oh yeah. Barely, I would say, because I went
You're
coming
not
out
even 6 months in and you're already in the black. That's actually like really good.
Yeah, this was an interesting one. Coming in, I've been very transparent with the LIA members about this. So I came in and this was full time for me. Like a lot of people do it, kind of part time, where they're bridging the gap between their W-2 and stuff like that. This was the full time thing for me. So I made a big bet on myself, and I knew this had to be it. I was choosing that this was going to be it, and as a result, I funded the base layer of the business on credit cards. And, I just a huge bet on myself, because I knew that, the 25, 30K that I was going to spend to get this business off the ground, I knew that this is going to make me a millionaire someday. Right. Yeah. And that 30K is the cost of entry to that millionaire, whatever it is, whatever success I have, that's like the ticket to get in. And I knew that. And so I bet on myself there, which was very scary. I doubted that quite a bit.
Yeah.
One of the wildest things was completely underestimating the length of the sales cycle, the deal cycle, right? Like, I get my first deal, I acquired my first deal, and I'm celebrating like I'm making money now. And then like, damn, I gotta get this thing listed. I gotta find a realtor, get it listed. So we get it on the market, get my first offer, full price offer. Great, awesome. 45 days to close, right? So it's just so drug out. So I'm realizing how long the sales cycle is, and kind of, had a rude awakening there. But during that process, I realized I can do very few things to control that. I can control the inputs that are, getting deals in my pipeline. So I'm like laser focused right now on just getting as many contracts locked up as I can, getting as many deals on the market as I possibly can. And I'm letting realtors handle all of that. I'm not self-listing anything. Maybe that's something that changes at some point, but I just realized that's going to be a huge distraction if I've got to build out an acquisition side of the business and the dispo side. So paying the realtors the commissions, and I'm cool with that, even though it's more than I would like. Whatever, it is what it is. But yeah, it allows me to stay laser focused on acquiring deals and stacking my pipeline, and just trusting that everything's going to fall where it may at the appropriate time.
Yeah. And in the beginning stages, it's actually beneficial and to just list with agents, right? Just to get that going, because to have a whole another section of your team, like you almost have to look at it as two different businesses. Having acquisitions, dispositions, they're two separate businesses. One is the buying and negotiating all that stuff. The other one's the selling. That whole selling side is another whole sector. It takes so much drain on your time and business that you really need to have that separation. So it's actually really smart. I do the same thing. I still have realtors list everything. I know eventually I might bring in somebody on our dispo side. We attempted it real quick and we realized we're like, no, it's a lot of time and like dedication we got to do to it. I'm just not really looking to do that right now. Realtors, we get realtors anywhere between 5 and 10% is what we pay. It is what it is. We just list, move on. And it's worth it to me. So that's really smart. Okay, so you brought on some VAs and stuff like that. Your VA, what did your first VA do?
So I hired a VA basically right out of the gate. As soon as I had a mail prep process down, right? Like pulling records. I guess, having previous business experience, I know that my expertise is in systems and operations. So with the mail prep stuff, I did it once and I was like, I don't ever want to do this stuff again, ever. So I created a process where I only had to do it 4 times. I did it once to figure out what I'm doing. I did it twice to write down the steps, step by step by step. I did it a third time to follow those steps to a T and add in any little details that I missed. And I did it a fourth time to record it on video. The fifth time I had a VA do it all, and I haven't done it since. And as the CEO, the deal maker, whatever the high level role is in your business, like I highly recommend taking an approach like that. Like only do something as many times as you need to learn it and pass it off to someone else. And if you don't have that someone else on your team, consider finding that. Because for me, what I realized was if my highest revenue producing activity is talking to sellers and making deals, any minute that I spend doing things that are not that is costing me money.
Yes.
And when I could be outsourcing some of this stuff for $3 an hour, $5 an hour, whatever it is, and I'm spending any minutes on that, I'm bleeding money. I'm bleeding opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Especially because it could be a drain. It's a mental drain. It's not necessarily just a money drain, but mentally just to get caught up in the pricing and the scrubbing and all that stuff, you really get bogged down. You're like, oh, this business sucks, whatever. But when you start finding you get the right people in the right seats, it starts all click together, right? We saw a lot of growth once we clicked in. We hired some part-time VAs, 10 hours a week, just to get them started. And one was in generalist, one was in pricing, whatever. We hired 3 different VAs and we said, look, this is what we're going to get to. Eventually, you're going to get you that 40-hour week, essentially. But I want to see, 1, are you able to do the processes? And 2, like, we're just getting this rolling. So like, let's learn together kind of thing. They stuck with it. I had, out of the 3 we hired, we ended up keeping 1 full time. Now she's making, she makes like $400 a week plus bonus. Wow. So she loves it. She gets, we have a commission talk with her tomorrow. We're going to talk about her pay schedule and all that stuff. She's going to make $400 a week salaried. She gets, I wanted her to only work 4 days a week so that this way she has that 3 days off essentially. So she could just chill. And then she gets bonus $100 per deal we purchase. That's just goes right to her. And she gets 2 weeks paid time off plus all vacation days, holidays paid off too. So when you treat people like that, they're like they're like, yeah, let's do it. But she grew into that position. She started out just 10 hours a week. It was $80 a week, and she didn't know where it was going. But she's taken over. I got to say, I don't really do much anymore. That's cool. She pretty much does everything. So yeah, you're really smart for automating that stuff.
With that first VA I hired, I really went in and I had this conversation with her from the start. I was like, look, like I'm looking for someone who I can essentially groom to be my number 2, who I can groom to be like doing all of the things that I know how to do. So I'm not going to hold anything back. I'm going to teach you everything. And if you're on board with that and growing with us, then let's do this. She told me what she wanted to make. And I said, look, we're not going to start you at that. But we're going to put you on a path to get you there.
Perfect.
Right. And it's been incredible. And now what's happening is I'm able to, 1, create an opportunity for her to make good money to provide for her family, for her kids and everything like that, with the freedom and flexibility to work from her home. So me hiring this VA, it's not just for me. Like I'm actually able to provide opportunity for people that, like if I were to, stay in the spreadsheets myself and think, oh, I need to do that. I'm actually depriving these people of really good opportunity that they're actually more qualified for than me.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree 100%. That's awesome. So besides the spreadsheets and stuff like that, what other processes have you started like automating?
So I had her also do comping and lead intake as well. I just realized, for, the 15 minutes that it takes to intake a new lead and comp the property or whatever, again, it was pulling me away from other work I could be doing. And as we start, if we start to get 4, 5, 8 leads a day or whatever it is, when we get to that point, I won't have that kind of time. So I wanted to get her started with that early on. So that's mainly what she's doing there. And she's doing about 15, 20 hours a week. I just recently read the book, Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. Highly recommend it. And something that he shared in the book really shifted my perspective. And he's like, stop hiring to fill positions and start hiring to buy back your time. And I realized in all the VAs I've ever hired in my life, I've never hired someone to have in my corner to do the little things that that pull my time throughout the day. So I took, I was recently hiring for a very specific data scrubber so I could move my previous VA into a higher level admin role. And I was very specific in my posting, and I came out with 3 really, really good candidates that are way overqualified for the data scrubbing. And I was like, I'm going to keep y'all in my back pocket. Just I don't know what's going to come up. And I hired one of them as my assistant. So now what she's doing, she just started on Monday. She's going to work her way up to full time, or at least about 30, 35 hours a week when I'm working. So we're starting with a daily sync meeting where she is syncing up with me on my emails and my calendar. Like, she's the buffer between me and the outside world. She knows that her role is to help me get my time back so I can stay in my lane and build relationships and make deals. So that's been a really cool one too, because I'm looping her in communication with the title companies and things like that. So kind of creating like a little operations manager without, kind of like grooming her for that kind of role without specifically saying this is what you're doing. We'll get her there. Kind of like what you did with that started at 10 hours and they work their way up.
Yeah. That's the way to do it. And they start getting committed, and you're not just like overloading them or trying to find a position for them, and they just do nothing for half the time.
Yeah.
Like, at least if you start slowly and build them up, they learn, you learn, and then eventually, boom, you just have to take over more and more. So
yeah. So I've got that going on. I have been doing just direct mail for now, blind offers. And I think I said earlier, I got cute a little bit and did sent out some range offers that just didn't go as well as I thought they would. And I realized, as if I put myself in my buyer's shoes or seller's shoes, it probably looks a lot less serious. If I give you a direct price, I seem more serious than if I give a range that's like 85K to 115K. They're like, what is this? So that didn't go as well. And I pivoted back to blind offers and kind of just realized, like, this is exactly what was taught. What the hell am I doing?
With what Sumner teaches is stick. It works. He's bought $5 million worth of land. Like, just do it. Do what he's saying. It works. I do it. I mean, we added 600K in profit this quarter. So I just listen to what he says, and it's very simple. You just got to do it consistently and just mail. That's it.
Yeah. So we're scaling our blind offers now. We did 13,500 in March. Looking to probably do about 12 or so this month, just because I did slow down a little bit with my VA, taking a little bit of time off for vacation and bringing that other VA on board as well. So I've got that going on. I want to get my direct mail up to about 20K a month. And have a refined process for that, where it's not just like, oh, I did 7K and then I did 20K. Like, I want to have a smooth system where it's happening predictably every month. And then one of the other things I'm kind of working on slowly behind the scenes is adding text messaging as well. I have gotten signed up with Smarter Contact. I'm not running it yet. I'm kind of building out my templates and chatting with other folks that are doing it and figuring out what my process is going to be. But I do want to layer in a second marketing channel that gives me a little bit better, a little bit faster feedback than the delay in the mail marketing. Just because I had a period of time in February where I updated my design templates with my mail, and it paused everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, it created this massive wall in my business and got me extra antsy. And that led me to making funny decisions that I probably shouldn't have been making. And so it's been a beautiful journey of just learning and growing and really just realizing, if I just keep it simple and stay in my lane, do what's being taught, and utilize the people that I've brought on board to help me, and trust that they've got what it takes, that I saw enough in them to hire them and bring them into the business, that I can empower them with the opportunity and let more things go to them, then I'll get to where I want to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. I find that too, is like, it sucks when you have to make a change in your business. Like, we had to changed our mailer 100%. We got some feedback from our acquisitions, and they said, hey, look, a lot of the leads we've been getting have been crap. Because we've just been broadbanding, mailing everything. And I'm like, all right, I need to change everything. Let me redefine my scrubbing process. Let me redefine my mailing process. Let me redefine everything. So we're like, well, let's just rip it all apart and then put it back together. And that's what we spent the last 45 days doing. And we just sent out our first mail since this the whole restructuring. But now we're a lot happier with our pricing, our scrubbing. We're scrubbing almost like 60%, if not more, of all data sets out, like getting rid of it.
Wow.
So we're really getting to just the good in the prime properties that we're mailing. It's definitely not a beginner move. Don't anybody try to do this. If you're just getting started, just broadband it. We still put 600K in our last quarter, just broadbanding it.
Wow.
What I'm trying to do now is refine our process to hit a larger reach, but only to good properties, so that it's not necessarily to make more money. I hope it does make us more money, but it's more to take off some of the exhaustion and pricing issues that we have with our acquisitions managers, so that we're not exhausting them. That's the only reason why we change everything, right? I want to make the process easier. So yeah, have you ever read the book Who Not How?
No, I haven't.
So good. So it's actually was it Dan Sullivan, who's strategic coach. He's an awesome dude. He's I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Oh, yeah.
Very awesome, like process oriented guy. Like the guy's like insane. He's been around. I think he's been an entrepreneur coach for like 60 years or something like that. And I think it was Benjamin Hardy is the writer. So book is awesome. They have a series. They're writing a whole bunch of books together. They did 10X is easier than 2X, Gap in the Gain, and Who Not How. Who Not How is one of those books that when you read it and listen to it, and you're like, it's definitely these books to listen to, because they're they do the book and then they do a conversation between Brian and Dan, and they talk and stuff like that and give you more context. Awesome books.
Awesome.
Definitely check it out. And it's very similar to Dan Martell's book as well, where it's just like, hey, look, get yourself out of it. Get yourself out of those seats and put the right people in the right seats. It's that simple, Okay, so how did you organize? Do you have like SOPs and all that stuff, or what did you do? Just kind of like
I do SOPs right away. I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier that I'm creating a process the first or second time I do something. And that's an area where I realized that the sooner I can create a process and then like have it in writing or have it in video, the sooner I can pass it off. Like just yesterday, basically what's been going on is my one VA would do the entire mail prep process. And then once everything's scrubbed and ready to go, she would send the list to me, and I would go in and I would add the pricing. I would double check everything, spot check it, make sure it looks good. Then I would upload it to my CRM and get the offer codes. And then I would send it off to the mail house. And I realized, why am I still doing a lot of that stuff? So just yesterday I did it. I had three markets, three mail campaigns I needed to do. And I was like, all right, I'm going to record a video on how I do these steps in the first one. And then today, when I had my meeting with my assistant, I just passed the other two to her, and she just messaged me 20 minutes ago and said, hey, I got those done. So now processes for everything. I actually took a page out of your book and started building out written processes in Google Sheets. So I do that. But what I found, and I think this might be helpful for people starting out their business as well, is you don't need to be super detailed in writing out every single step, because what's going to happen is you're going to spend hours doing that, and then it's going to evolve tomorrow or next week or whatever, and then you're going to have to scrap it all and redo it. Just record yourself doing it and talk your way through it. Because any VA that's doing it, like they can do that, and maybe you bullet out the main steps, but if they watch the recording, you're going to save yourself way more time. Like I look back at even the previous business that I owned, I spent so much time fine tuning these SOPs and making them look neat. And I look back and like, that didn't make me any more money.
I know. We went through all those iterations where we're like, all right, we're going to do a Notion. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I said, at the end of the day, I have a spreadsheet with SOPs, and I record a whole bunch of looms, and it says pricing SOP, blah, 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 like any of that stuff. Here's the loom, I record it, and then Michelle just basically writes it up and puts in bullet points so that it's just easier. That's it. It's super easy. It takes me I love Loom. Loom is like my absolute favorite thing. Drift is the same thing, whatever you want to use. Best thing ever. You just sit there, record yourself doing it. Hey, blah, 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 blah. This is what I'm doing. Here's my process. Good. Send it away. Anytime anybody asks me for anything, here's a Loom for it. It's so easy. And I use that to raise private capital. Whenever I'm raising private capital, I do a walkthrough video of the property that we're buying. And I'm like, hey, this is the property. These are the comps. This is what the realtor says, blah, blah, blah. 3 to 5 minute video. Just send it out to the people that I know that have money or working, are lenders.
Yeah.
And they just reply back and be like, yeah, I'll take it. Sounds good. Let's go.
That's wonderful.
Dude, Loom is probably one of the best used tools you could use for your business right now. Like low key, it's probably one of the best things.
That's great. I think I remember Sumner saying one time that he sends videos to his, like sellers, like he'll record a video, like if sellers have questions, he'll like hop on like, hey, it's me and like that.
Yeah.
Or I think it was Sumner that said that, but
Yeah.
I've never used it in that way. But yeah, I love, just being able to just talk your way through it. And most of the people on your team, or, if you have people on your team, that's probably going to be easier for them anyways than trying to figure out what you meant when you left a vague bullet point. So yeah, that's been super helpful.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so helpful once you figure it out and get it working. It's one of the best things you could do. Yeah. We love it all. We love it. We use it all the time. And I love it too, just for being able to share information. Awesome. Okay. So where's the growth path? What do you plan on doing next? I know you're talking about ramping up more mail, adding texting, but do you have like a crystal clear criteria of like the type of properties you're buying, like your avatar?
No, I mean, so I guess what my avatar looks like right now is I'm looking at like I'll go after any property that's a minimum market value of 50K, where I can net at least 15K on it.
Okay.
Now inside of that, I prefer not to deal in infill lots. However, if they fall into my lap, I would gladly take an infill lot and get it sold. Right. I'm an opportunist, so I'm going to be selective about where I market and go after things. But if things come to me, I will find a way to make it work. And that's where, I guess that's something that I'll share too, is that's something that really helped me find success very early on is being an opportunist in, if I couldn't make a deal pencil at 50% of market value, I can always come back to, I just need to net 15K on a deal to make it work. Because when I underwrote my goals, when I started my business, it was based on a bunch of 15K deals. If every deal I got was just 15K, I would need to have this many deals a month and that to get to where I want to go. So in realizing that, I realized I can double close pretty much everything and get a lot more deals in my pipeline, and reach my goals a lot faster. Now, I'm not going for home runs, right? I'm going for base hits. If I get really, really, really good at consistently hitting base hits, I'm going to get to where I want to go anyways. And I'm going to get the random home run that pops up. So I double close 95% of my properties. It's just, it's what I started doing. So that like the language just rolls off of my tongue when I talk to sellers. I speak as if that's the only thing we do. I speak of our 90-day, timeline to close. It's what we do. It's our due diligence process, right? And I just got really good at that right out of the gate. I get every one of my sellers to sign the attorney in fact document. So I'm transparent with them up front about, like, hey, we're, this is our strategy. This is what we plan to do. So by doing that, what that's allowed me to do is get a lot of deals that other investors can't make pencil. And it's great. Now I can, if I'm talking to other sellers if I'm talking to sellers that are talking with other investors as well, and I know that I just need to make 15K, my max allowable offer is in line with that, there's a good chance, or I may have a better chance of getting the deal than someone who's trying to get 50% of market value. So that really, really helped me. Of course, I would love to get a deal as low as I possibly can, but knowing that my max allowable offer can be up to that, and that the double close is my bread and butter, it's been incredibly helpful for me.
Yeah. Yeah, we do the same thing. Our minimum is 30K, pretty much what we try to make. Obviously, if we get an offer sent over to us and it's only a 25K profit, we're still going to take it.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But it's not like, when we're marketing, we only market the stuff that has a market value of like 80K or more, so that we know that what we're getting, whatever.
Right.
So, and we also do minimum profit sometimes when we go to mail certain like really busy markets. We'll basically mail them at a percentage that is a minimum profit that we make. So where most people are offering like 50%, we might be offering like 80% of market, but we still make 30K. We're happy. That's kind of like an edge that we have. The difference is though, we're buying it and we're putting a lender in there, just because I have access to capital. And we list a lot of properties as double closes, but more than likely, like it's more to gauge interest. So after 21 days, we're like, not a lot of interest. If we have a lot of interest, then we'll actually buy it. If we don't, we'll just maybe cancel or extend it, depending. But yeah, dude, that's definitely the way. And it's smart to have that crystal clear criteria of what you're trying to make a minimum profit. So now you know, like, if the deal comes in, it's less than this, it's not really going to work, you know?
Yeah. I looked at a handful of the deals that caused me trouble early on. And it was because I said yes to the infill lot, or I said yes to the deal that, it was a crappy property. And I was like, but I could probably make a little bit. And that was the thing, coming in new, I didn't understand it like that. I was new, and I'd hear y'all say, I don't go after anything less than 15 or 20K. And I was like, but bro, you don't get it. I'm floating this business on my credit card. I haven't gotten paid in months. I would love to have 5K in my pocket right now. It'd do wonders for me and my family. Mm-hmm. Those are the ones that ended up causing me problems.
They cause problems. And then the problem is there's no room for negotiation.
When it's listed and you're not getting a buyer, I have to cancel the contract because I can't drop it down any lower. So
exactly. We had one, actually, it does suck, but I don't care because my lender got paid back. We had the one that sat on the market. It went under contract. Buyer was ready to go at 130 something. Great. We would have made like 40 grand. I'm like, this is an awesome property. Took us like a week to get there. Great. They go through the whole process. Right at the last day, they canceled. They said they couldn't get their funding. Crap. Go back on the market. We get another offer pretty much right away, but it's lower. It's like 120K. I'm like, just do it. They do the same thing. 4 months though, because it was a USDA loan. They went through the whole process. Last day, they're like, can't get our funding. Can't get the USDA funding. We tried Agland, couldn't get that funding. Got to cancel. So I made $2,500 on EMDs and whatever, but now we just signed a contract to actually sell it. Hopefully this guy actually goes through 30-day close, blah, blah, blah. But we're selling it for 91. We're going to make like $1,000 on the property. It sucks. Yeah. But the thing is my lender's making money. My realtor's making their money. That's fine. I don't care. At the end of the day, it's just off my books. Right. Mm-hmm. And it sucks. But like, if I didn't have that room to negotiate and come down like that, I would have just been totally screwed, Yeah. So that's why you got it, especially if you're putting a lender in and all that stuff, you got to have room. But 15K, like you could come down 10K, say, hey, look, I'll make this work, come down 10K, make 5 grand. At least you make 5 grand. Mm-hmm. Right. But having that guideline in there, I know a lot of people like they want to make $1,000 per deal. It's like, you're going to just set yourself up for failure. You don't have any room to negotiate. So
if you just want to make $1,000 per deal, I will pass it to me. I'll get it sold and I'll pay you $1,000 assignment fee for every single deal. Like, if that's what you want, like, I would love to do that. That's the thing is I, like, now that I know, I was looking at my KPIs earlier and my cost per contract was like $1,100, maybe 1,000. I take a look right now, actually.
That's super cheap.
And let's see here.
Yeah.
Cost per signed PA. Okay. Actually, it's 1,600 right now. It went up a little
really
bit because I dumped a shitload into marketing last month. 13,000 letters that haven't returned haven't gotten responses on those, but it was like 1,100 until like 3 weeks ago. But when I know that, now I know, okay, if I can buy a contract at $1,100 or, anywhere in that ballpark, where I don't have to do the work on the front end, like, that's great. So anybody that's looking to assign a deal, that's where I made a post in the LIA group a couple of weeks back about if anybody's got deals that they can't make pencil, like, let me take a look at it. And if I can make it work, like, I would be happy to JV it with you or assign with, pay you an assignment. And it's been great because I have, I use the double close strategy that not everybody is comfortable using. And when I do that with someone, what I do is I pull back with JV or whatever, I pull back the curtain, I show you, I record my conversation with the seller so you can hear it. I, loop you into the conversations with the realtor so you can see how I frame, exactly what we're going to be doing with a realtor, how I never get turned down by realtors when I want to double close. I just like to teach you that. So number one, you have that tool in your tool belt. And, if we do it right, you never have to partner with someone again because you now know how to double close.
Exactly. That's the way to do it. We bought, I think 3 deals last month from other people inside the Discord that they just had deals. They needed money now. So one deal we bought for seller wanted 49,000. The person could have come up with the money within 21 days. We could reached out. We paid him $5,000. So we bought it for 55. We have it listed for 90. I don't know if it'll actually sell at 90. We might settle and only make like, I don't know, $5,000, $7,000. But at the end of the day, it was an extra deal that it didn't cost us any acquisition time to get it. That's why I was like, I don't mind doing that. You know, we listed it high. Maybe it'll go, maybe it won't, whatever. But we have 2 other deals just like that, you know, and it's good for the people that are selling it to us because, hey, you get $5,000 back in your pocket. It cost you $1,000 to get the contract. Well, you made a 4x ROAS. So if people have too many deals, a lot of times that helps too.
Yeah. Well, and there are people out there that, you know, outside of this group for sure, but that just they're wholesalers and they only, you know, I talked to a guy on the phone a week or 2 ago and he was a wholesaler and we were talking about how we could possibly work together. And I was like, ideally, like, what would you like to make on your deals? And he's like, honestly, 5K is great, but if I can make it quick, 2 or 3K, I'm happy. So what this guy does is he gets a deal. Let's say he gets a 60K deal. He gets it at 30K and he goes and puts it on his website for 37 to 40K. So he's wholesaling this thing out to someone else who's going to take and do exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm like, look, you just want 2K. Let me JV on those deals with you. And I'll get you more than 2K. We can come up with a split that's fair. And you know, so there are a lot of people like everybody, what everybody desires in their deals is a little bit different. You know, for some people like I won't take anything less than 30. I won't get out of bed for less than 20, whatever it is. And some people are like, I just need to make 3K on every deal. And I will just keep getting more and more and more deals as long as I don't have to sell them.
They don't have to worry about funding or dispo or anything. They just have to worry about how can I get a contract and then sell that contract. Boom. Make $5,000, move on. You do 10 of those a month. You're doing pretty dang good, you know?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. It's they're a volume game. I personally would rather, dude, if I could get to the point where my deals are only 200K per deal spread, but I'm only doing like 3 of those a month, I would gladly just do that. I'll just do that all day. You know, I know you're usually buying it for like 500 and selling it for 800 at that point, but I could do that. You know, like I'd rather do that, to be honest with you. So I don't know. It's definitely good. And building these systems, you can't even fathom that stuff unless you have people in the right seats taking over a lot of that stuff.
Well, and for me too, like having built and refined a process for dispositioning double closes in 90 days, right? So that comes down to qualifying a realtor. How do you qualify a realtor fast enough to get it? Because the one thing I can control in getting a double close sold in time is the time from when I get the contract signed until it's listed. That's the thing I have a lot of control over. Everything else is kind of, I'm relinquishing control. So it's qualifying a realtor right after you get the contract signed, or maybe even beforehand, so that they can look at the property right after it's signed, so they can get it up within a couple of days and have a quality listing. And also getting them bought in on, hey, look, I'd love to get the most I possibly can, but I also need this thing to sell within a short time frame. So you know, let's price it to sell, let's price it to move quickly. Also, I'm not really in the business of wanting to accept USDA loans and you know, whatever loans, because I can't have this thing fall through at the 11th hour. So it's like there's so many moving parts, but I've refined a process to do all of that very quickly and efficiently, you know, so that I can trust that my deals are going to be sold in roughly 45 days.
Yeah, I made the mistake and I learned hard with the USDA loan. It's a drag, man. I learned pretty hard. They're great. They're a great loan product, but it just didn't fit us, and it doesn't work with our model. So you had to do one, and you know what? I learned a hard lesson. You just gotta take the cash or ag land loans, and that's pretty much it.
Are you telling your realtors then that you won't accept a loan like that? Or are you like, what kind of stipulations are you given?
It depends on the deal. If I'm not, like, I would take an ag loan over nothing. Obviously, if I have no offers, I would take that. But if I have other offers, I'm going to take a cash first. Cash, ag loan, and then that next. You just got to know what you're prepared for. And now, in hindsight, now I know, had I been more involved in the actual process, I could have pushed stuff along for the ag loans. So that's one thing I realized too. Like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that I could be more involved in the process and be, you know, whatever. Like, problem with the ag stuff is they do one thing, then they do the next thing, then they do the next thing. If you would have just stacked it all at one shot, like get your survey, get your perk test, get your this, get all that stuff done in one shot, it would have been easy. It could have been done in a month or two.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And that's another thing with when I have the realtor conversation is I've developed a process for not only what I look for, how I qualify the best realtors in an area, but the conversation I have when we're agreeing on listing the property, I'm setting expectations with them around here's what we want, here's what we don't want. When it comes to an offer, here's what a strong offer looks like for me. I'm, and it's this tiered offer of a cash offer, then it's a loan with pre-approval, and then it's a loan with pre-qualification, and then it's this and this and this. So I want them to understand how I'm thinking about it. So they're not bringing me, this incredibly weak offer and expecting me to accept it. Like they understand the game I'm playing. They understand, when it comes to listing photos and stuff like that, they understand what I like. Sometimes, what I do is I'll look at their previous listing photos. And if they don't draw lot lines, if they don't use a drone, I will specifically ask them to, or I will find someone who does. If they don't do lot lines, I will ask them to have their photographer send me the photos once they get them. And I will have my editor do lot lines because, we have a process. We sell land and we like our things done a certain way. It's our brand. So it's refined, like kind of figuring out what things are important to you. And I know that my properties are going to sell quicker when we've got lot lines and good photos and drone photos and that kind of thing. So I want each of my listings to fit that mold because those are things then those are the controllables.
Exactly. Yeah. It's stupid stuff like that sells a property. Honestly, I've seen so many bad ones, and we a lot of times will pay for, drone in addition to, even if the realtor's like, oh, I'll get pictures. Look, they're realtors. They might not get the best pictures, but you get a droner out there that actually knows how to do this, you get better pictures. And then we'll also get videos and stuff like that from the droner. So it costs like $200 to $250, whatever the case may be. But now I have access to that. And that's also something good you can post on your website. You can put on social medias, anything you want. Hey, look, this is our property that we bought, whatever. That's kind of what we do on our website. We have a bunch of our drone videos like from properties that we buy. We just throw them up there. They don't, we don't say we bought and sold this. We just say, hey, this is a property we bought.
Yeah.
That's that.
Social proof. Yeah.
Social proof. Yeah. Look, we're real. Like we actually do this stuff. Here's a property we bought in Florida and Georgia, whatever. So yeah, that's definitely important. Awesome. So let me see this. So John asked a question. So John said, when you're picking markets, feeding it to the VA, pricing, putting a final stamp on the approval, do you just put the markets in the top of the funnel or let a VA take it from there?
Great question. So this is a part of the process that I'm currently evolving right now. So I'll speak to what it has been and what it is now, and then I'll speak to what I'd like it to get to. So I pick all the markets right now. I pick all the markets because I understand the data. I use Land Insights, incredible. If you're not using Land Insights, I highly recommend it. And I promise I don't get paid to say that. It's mind blowing. So,
dude, talking about streamlining your process. Yeah.
I know what to look for in Land Insights. I know what specifically to look for. And because I'm a few months new to the tool, I'm still trying to make sense of it in terms of like, how do I put this into words to teach someone else? I know what to look for, but I'm not at a place where this next person can do that quite yet. I think I probably could, but I want to make sure that I've got a really strong method to it. So I'm picking the markets and loading them in the queue. And then my VA, my list prep VA, she's going through and just working through that queue every day. We're targeting getting her KPI right now is getting 3,000 records ready to mail each week. So that would keep me on track with a 12K
nice
run rate. So what she's doing then is she's preparing the lists and everything like that, preparing the pricing sheet for me as well. And she's going through all the listings from Redfin and making notes on which ones were waterfront and things like that. So I can come in and I can glance at it and do my pricing exercise like that. Again, that's something in the future I would love to pass off to someone else. But making sense of the pricing, I feel like is a little bit next level compared to the other things my VAs are doing. I don't feel comfortable giving that away yet.
Yeah.
90 days from now, I want no business in pricing for sure.
Mhm.
And possibly with how robust Land Insights is, I don't think I'll have any need to be the one picking markets either, because I can, if I wanted to right now, I could very easily say, hey, this is what we look for. We're going to be doing enough volume where I'm not going to need to get as granular. I can be a little bit more general, like, hey, we're just looking for markets that meet these criteria. Let's queue them up.
Yep.
So that's what that looks like. So she's preparing them and then sending it back to me and basically saying, mail prep is done. And then what I do is I go in and I spend the 20, 30 minutes to do the pricing exercise for the market. And then I go through and I spot check everything. Just make sure it passes the eye test. Spot check a couple records in Land ID, make sure that everything it checks out. Nothing got shuffled around in the spreadsheet, because I've heard horror stories. And then I'm doing adding like the offer codes and pricing and everything like that and mailing it. But I've currently cut that tail end of the process off. And as of today, I just passed that off to a VA. So I'm doing the front end, picking the markets, and then I'm kind of doing the pricing related stuff right now, because it just feels like something that I'm not ready to relinquish.
Yeah. I only do my 3 processes. I pick my market. I pick the markets because I'm like, I want to be in control of that. I verify, like just review pricing after it's done. And if it looks good, good. And deals after they've gone under contract or any leads that come in. Most of the time, like my AMs take care of the leads that come in, but I'll look at them sometimes and be like, hey, this is a hot lead. Here's the MAO or whatever the case may be. That's pretty much it.
So you've relinquished the pricing the market. That's not on your plate.
No, I don't price the market at all. I just review the pricing once they're done.
Do you review their market pricing before they plug it into the data sheet?
So no, they'll put it all together, and I'll
Okay.
look at it. And what I do is I just go through, and it's triple checked. So I check it. So the person who prices it checks it. Michelle checks it, and myself or Rob checks it. And all we're doing is randomly selecting a couple parcels and then pulling it up. Boom, land ID, pulling it up on the map. Hey, does this make sense? Great, does, cool. And that's it. It's super easy. Takes me a couple minutes to really do. It's not hard. So I still do that because I want to make sure, because we've had a couple markets that we mailed that we totally messed up.
One cell gets deleted and everybody's the wrong people get the wrong mail.
Well, we're good with that because I had backstops before anybody touches the sheet. We had backstops.
Yeah.
We highlight like every 100 or so lines. We highlight it in red, and they stay with you every time we transfer it. Those red lines. Anytime anything gets moved, you'll see it all get jumped.
A break, yeah. So
that's like step 1. It's in our SOPs. Step 1. This, before we manipulate any data. So we do that. So Ed, I want to bring you up in a second, but yeah, we do that. And then, that's pretty much it. They do all the pricing. I just take a look at the stuff right before we send it and upload it to Rocketprint. Like at this point, I don't even know how to upload to Rocketprint and mail. Like, it's like, I don't understand that process. I don't want to understand it. I just want to tell them, hey, this is what I like about my design. This and that.
Yeah.
That's it.
I agree. That's exactly where I want to go. Is I want my entire marketing side to run without me at all. Because I truly believe that that's going to be the fastest way one of the fastest and easiest ways to scale my marketing is to get me out of it, because that's what's the bottleneck right now. Is the reason my marketing isn't higher isn't because of money or whatever. It's because I haven't allocated the time to do the things that are required of me in the process.
Yeah. Yeah. And I sometimes I get lost in the sauce and I forget. I'm like, I'm not going to pick markets this month or whatever. So like Michelle will be like, what markets are we pricing? I'm like, just remail the ones from November. Just redo those. They're screwed up. So I have to pull myself out of the Land Insights. And what I have 2 hires that I'm looking for next. I'm looking for somebody to automate actually, this could probably be one, like a sales and marketing expert, somebody who could just run my sales team and somebody who could run like the sales team by the marketing side of things. So that's my next hire, whether it's US based or outsourced. I'm not sure, but I'm definitely looking into that. Ed, what's up, man? You got questions?
No, I didn't have a question. I wasn't sure why you were going to bring me up.
Oh, okay. No worries, Ed. Thanks. Jeff, you got a question, brother? See what happens. Hey, Jeff. How you doing, man? He'll come back. Awesome. Okay. So, all right. So you're going to focus on that. Now, are you planning on basically like expanding how much you'll make per deal, or like you like the 15?
Yeah. Oh no, I definitely plan on expanding that. I
Okay.
basically my agenda here was to create a process that's repeatable and predictable of, getting deals in at a certain threshold, and then to turn the dial of the size of the deals. Right. And then all while that's happening, I'm casting a bigger net in my marketing, which gives me more opportunities for those home run deals, the subdivides, or whatever
Mhm.
those bigger home run type properties are. So
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely it's right now it's just creating the predictable process and getting a lot of it off my plate, and then we'll just turn that dial a little bit.
Smart. What is your scrubbing process? Are you pre-scrubbing a lot of your parcels you mail, or are you just blast?
So this is a funny one. So in March, when I mailed 13,500 records, I was using data tree,
Mhm.
and we were map scrubbing. So our bottleneck to, not doing 15,000 records was my VA's time. She was map scrubbing in data tree, and that took a lot of time.
A lot of time.
Yeah, so that was a challenge. Now we got our bill for March data tree. We mailed 13,500, but of course there were a lot of duplicates and a lot of stuff that we removed after we exported it. And we actually exported about 30,000 records, and I had a $2,000 data tree bill. So that was the last data tree bill that I will have. Well, last big one at least.
That would have
Because
bought
we
you
moved
land
over to
vision for half the year.
we moved over to Land Vision, and I basically paid close to that for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
So now my scrubbing process, I've got to figure out what that's going to look like now.
Okay. Yeah, mine. So what I do is, and it's a lot. It's pretty extreme. I'll be honest with you, but we basically, and I'm going to go more into this next week. I'm bringing Anthony Reese on. He's going to talk about his scrubbing process. But what ours is a 10-step process, right? So what we do is, once we download the data, we bring in all the data in from Land Vision. We put it on a spreadsheet, and then we send it out to get scrubbed. Our scrubber goes in there, and they go line by line, opens it up on Land ID, puts it up there, and then checks it. They check for, flood zone, landlocked, all that stuff. And then they're going to rate it on a 1 through 10 scale. So the 1 through 10 scale is like prime property, 2 is good, 3 is odd, 4 is whatever, like landlocked, 5 is house lot, 6 is this, whatever. Each one is a different number. So now I own that list, and I take a 10,000 record thing and I scrub it down to like 3,000 or 4,000 records.
Oh my gosh.
And then we're only mailing that 1 and 2s. Really cool. It's a very time consuming process. This dude, he works like 100 hours a week. It's insane. Really cool. Now, here's the even cooler thing, and I don't know if you know this, but Land Insights is launching their, right now they scrub out for landlocked properties right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now coming up very soon, it's going to be scrubbing landlocked, waterlogged, anything, basically any of the stuff that I'm doing that I have a guy manually scrubbing, they're going to have it all done. So it's like you can just upload your list and it'll get scrubbed for you. And basically, it's going to cost basically the same amount that I'm spending now. So I'm like, well, what should I do now? I mean, the only good thing is like I could take like 20 lists and upload them to Land Insights, where my scrubber, I can only give him 1 list, kind of thing. So I'm like back and forth. It's insane though. I think that's such an awesome tool. So that's going to be one way. You might not need to even hire for that position. So take a look at it. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
But that gives you too, like, so we rate our properties as prime, which is like 5 acres plus, double-sided road frontage, pretty relatively flat. That's like a prime lot. And what our strategy with that is, we're like, okay, how can maybe we're going to mail them all the same right now, but later on, I want to be able to pull out those specifically and mail them on a different way. Maybe mail them at higher offer, or mail them something else, or whatever the case may be. I know they're prime lots already. Like, I already know this is a good lot. So I could probably offer them market price, knowing I could probably subdivide it. If it's a double-sided road frontage, more than 20 acres, I could say, hey, market price is $200K for your property. I'll give you $200K, knowing I could chop it up and make $200K when I go to chop it up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons why we like redid everything. And it's not something I recommend anybody else doing. Like, stick to the guns, stick to what Sumner teaches. but there's a time where we have the capability, we have the people behind us to be able to change these processes around a little bit. So yeah, it's pretty good.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's definitely worth taking a look at. I like it.
Yeah.
But I'll show you. Well, maybe offline. I'll show you real quick. What it kind of looks like too. Cool. What else? How can people reach out to you, man?
How can you reach out to me? So you can email me at josh@highergroundland.com. As I mentioned earlier, I'll just share this too. As I mentioned earlier, that I love taking a look at deals that other people can't make pencil. And that's basically like hey, I want to look through your junk pile. I want to look through your trash. Like I want to look through the deals that you've already decided, hey, this one's probably not going to work. And why do I want to do that? One, I double close most of my properties, so I feel that I can probably help people that don't have double close in their arsenal, and we can get some money out of it. And two, I want to get really, really, really good at looking at deals. And if I do that, if I look at more deals, I'm just going to get skilled at looking at deals in a faster paced environment. So the more deals I look at, I'm going to get really good at underwriting. And I believe that's something that's going to take me far in this space. So yeah, josh@highergroundland.com. I'd love to look at any deals that you can't make pencil. The biggest thing with that is there's got to be at least 15K of profit on the bone. And I would say that it's got to be at least a 50K market value deal. So if you have comps that support 50K market value, let's do it. I want to make a correction. It's higher ground, HIGHER ground. Sorry.
Oh my God. I have messed up. Josh at higher ground land.
Yeah.
Land.com.
Yeah. And then the other thing I'll share with that too is, when I got into this in November, I was the guy that was asking everybody questions, and I felt like I was so annoying. And there are a few folks in the LIA group who I was pestering all the time, like, hey man, can I ask you another question? And looking back, I don't know that I was a burden or not. Probably not. I think it was just a story I created in my head. But I made a vow at that time, as I was actually chatting with Ari Owens. Shout out Ari, very helpful early on in my journey. I was actually chatting with him, and I made a vow internally. I was like, when I get to a place where I can be a resource for newer people, I cannot wait to just give to help in any way I can. So for anybody that's newer or has questions or was inspired with anything that I've shared, I just love to connect and hop on a call and jam and talk about our processes and our systems and share what's working. And, like I said, I want my time to be reserved for building relationships and making deals. So we can look at deals together. I'm happy to look at any of your deals, see if we can do anything together. We can talk processes and systems. We can connect, whatever it is. Like I enjoy that stuff. And if there's ever anything I can do to help, I'm more than happy to. That's
awesome, man. Yeah, it's always much appreciated too, having people come out and extend the olive branch and help everybody out. So definitely appreciate it. Guys, reach out to Josh. He's inside LIA. You could reach out to him at his email, josh@highergroundland.com, or you could check him out in the Discord. And awesome, man. All right, cool. Let's wrap this. People are going to go into the LIA call now. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming and hanging out, Josh. I'm excited to see your growth. I mean, it's crazy. Like 6 months ago, 5 months ago, where you started, now where you are. It's really good to see, man.
Yeah, we've got 9 deals on the market right now with a net pipeline profit of 260.
Boom! Look at that. I mean, in 5 months, it's crazy. It's insane. Not to mention the deals we've already done too.
Yeah.
So, dude, awesome. Congrats, man.
All right, thanks for having me, man.
Definitely. Thanks, man. Stay on here. I want to just show you.